First thing I'd like to mention is that the only reason I'm doing this is because Mr. Nissen asked me to do it.
Yay, Mr. Nissen.
He said he wanted me to read, so I was like, okay, all right. It's like I wanted some new voices and so forth. But can everybody hear me in the back?
Barely. No.
Barely? Okay. So I'm going to have to bring it up a bit. Everything that I'm reading today is products of what I've worked on and workshopped in my creative writing class, which is taught by a lovely published author called Jane Bradley. I don't know if you've read any of her work, but she has a book currently becoming a TV show called You Believers. So there's a lot going on for her. She's a wonderful author, and she helped workshop through all of my poetry and writing that I have here today. The first one is cake. I sit by myself. The party is over. The guests have left. The table has nothing but empty plastic dishware. But placed in front of me is one slice of cake. The last piece of an enormous whole, and all to myself. It's been so long, never in fact, since I've had a slice. On this birthday, I get to feast like all the lucky kids do. Doesn't seem like that little fork was enough of a weapon for the arena I'm about to enter. The first bite is excitement. I can't believe it tastes so good. The second bite is guilt. I'm filling myself with empty happiness. The third is of anger. I've waited too long for this moment. The fourth is of apology for the years I spent without pushing for cake. Next comes the pause. It appears that I've forgotten the occasion. A blown out candle lays next to the pastry, reminding me that this is a time of celebration. Maybe this is the first year it's felt like it. My second piece is not exactly a poem. It's a characterization activity that we had to do for the class, where you pick a character and you basically place them into an environment and describe who that person is. So I decided to take on a horror aspect of it. And I talked about a candy man. Mr. Brinkman had been in the candy business for 25 years. His shop was the only one on the block that wasn't made of that shiny $1 million metal and was instead made of brick and mortar that held strong. The windows still had the Venetian blinds that were installed from the late 60s, yellowed and weak from years of wear. The windows were reflective and inviting because Mr. Brinkman believed in window shopping. When a little boy wandered inside, he would travel back to a time where sugar and taffy were creative and had flavors that were freshly invented and new. There were the Astro Pops, red, green, and yellow with flavors of strawberry rocket, lime constellation, and lemon moon. Lollipops that were as big as your head and took a mere hour to lick and then chew. There were even magazines that Mr. Brinkman liked to keep for the people to read, despite the outdated articles of incredible inventions like the audio cassette and the Etch-a-Sketch. And if you didn't have any money, you could wander around and listen to swell tunes like Honky Tonk Women by the Rolling Stones and I'm Sorry by Brenda Lee. It would even be a great place to work, if Mr. Brinkman let you. In fact, no one's ever been behind the back counter where all the candy is stored. The big, empty jars that he keeps behind the counter slowly disappear whenever you visit. There isn't any type of candy that goes into those jars, but yet he says they keep filling up. Before my younger brother disappeared, he said that Mr. Brinkman keeps a special candy in them. I don't like the candy shop. And this one has a bit of a story with it. During the poetry sections and so forth, our class is very heavy. Like, we always get into things. We talk about anorexia and like just deep subjects. And I wrote a poem about it. It was called Existing. And it was basically me saying, just like slowly pull back from your friends until the point that you just stop existing entirely. And she read the poem, and I told her beforehand that it was about me, and she said, "This is way too depressing. Don't turn this in." And I was like, "You're calling me a downer." So of course, I was like, it was like 20 minutes before class, and I was like, I don't want to edit this depressing poem she seems to hate. And my classmates are worried that I'm suicidal because it was very depressing. So I decided to write a poem based on God's perspective. Let's say he visits you right before you're committing suicide. It's called My Little One. Hello again. I know you must have several questions, but please let me talk. If you guessed correctly, which I know you have, I'm God. Yes, the God. It's been a while, yes, and I have much to tell you. First off, you're not dead. Everyone seems to think that right away. Sometimes I like to drop by and chat while you're still alive. With that being said, I really don't want you to rush that. We both know you've been thinking about it. Please, don't do that. I want you to have a chance to enjoy yourself. I know you're scared, and I know that you're angry too. You're disappointed in yourself, and it just doesn't seem to get any better. Life sucks. But I don't want you to think that this is it. You're young, okay? Do you honestly think that this is for the best? That there's nothing to strive for? I see you're nodding. And I can understand why you think that. Know that I'm proud of you. Very proud of what you say. But listen, you're here, right? Well, there, but you know what I mean. You're so close to the beginning of your life, also known as the fun part. That's right, adulthood. I know, you've heard some things. But compare that to now. Your own decisions, your own space, your own adventures. No one will be able to take that away from you. Understand this, you've earned it. No one said this to you before, and it's time you acknowledge it. I could show you everyone that is inspired by you, but you don't have the time. I watch you, you see, and I've been doing that since your birth. Believe me when I say, I've enjoyed the show. You have so many things to experience, and I can't wait to see your face when you see them. So keep pushing. Not harder, but at the same pace, because it's enough. You're enough. You're doing what you can, and that's all that matters. And the next time I see you, I want you to do the talking, because you'll have plenty to say. Forgive me, I can't read the handwriting, but Rachel Lindsay?